Hey, and welcome to another episode of Not Another Teacher podcast. Slightly different this week. We're going to try and change format up. So obviously we've been doing kind of daily episodes, Monday to Friday, just very short ones, where we're going to go for a bit longer ones. And I thought kind of, if it's a bit of a longer one, we don't want just me chatting for like an hour by myself because it'll get very boring, very monotonous. So I'm going to get some guests on. And I've got Lucy on as my first guest. Lucy Brabin.
Hello.
Did I get it right?
You got it right, Brabin, yeah.
We do know each other. I've not picked her up like randomly. It'll be like come in. But it's just a hard surname to say. But no, I thought, kind of say, shake the program up a little bit, chat to people, talk to people. Sometimes, like Lucy, it'll be PTs, online coaches. Sometimes it'll be other teachers. And it'll just be the idea of just like having those little bit more chats, having that bit more awareness, and hopefully you enjoy it. So we're going to go to weekly rather than daily, which is going to give me a little bit of a break. And yeah, we'll kind of start it off. So Lucy, I think probably the best thing to do first is just for you to give everyone a little bit of information on you, a little bit of kind of your background and everything that way. So give us a little bit on you.
Okay, so I started off actually, funnily enough, wanting to be a teacher. So getting into the fitness industry probably like wasn't actually a thing. It wasn't supposed to be a thing anyway. It just kind of happened. So I initially went to uni to do English language and literature, creative writing, and then did the degree. Also got in shape whilst doing it. Did a PT course. Did that. Went working for a big PT company, and then ended up at this point right now being an online coach and being self-employed. But the initial goal was to actually be a teacher.
Yeah.
And
what kind
teacher.
of, when did it change? Like when did you kind of gear more towards fitness, and what kind of made you not make that jump into teaching, if that makes sense?
So I found a massive passion in fitness and helping people in that way, which is quite funny really when you think about what a teacher's job is actually to help people. So like I suppose it's the same kind of, just in a different capacity. But I still love writing, still love doing all of those things, still love being creative in terms of that. But I think what kind of swayed it for me was just finding maybe a bit of a deeper passion in fitness, and just kind of because I fell into it, it was just something exciting and something new and something that I didn't really realise that I could make a career out of. And then I think what swayed me possibly away from being a secondary school English teacher is just I know how much work, I know how overworked a lot of teachers are. I just know how hard it is to actually be in teaching, because I have done like some like experience work and stuff like that, and been told by other teachers, don't do it. I was like, okay, well, maybe not.
It's mad. It is mad. And I think the perfect way I can describe teaching as a job is kind of being self-employed with a boss.
Yeah.
So like, you don't like, I think when I left teaching, I didn't realize just how much you work as a teacher compared to other jobs.
Yeah.
Like it's not 9 till 5. It's not you clock in, you clock out. You don't have overtime. It's just, this is your salary. This is how much work you've got to do, and you've got to do it till it's done. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot like self-employed. Like, you'll know it now being self-employed. Like, you've got your work to do and you've just got to do your work.
Yeah.
But you can also go, do you know what? I'm my own boss. Like, if I don't want to work on a Tuesday afternoon, I'm not going to work. I'll do it at a different time. Where teaching is like, no, here is your 9 to 5 job, and here is your self-employed job outside it, and you're not going to get any more money at all. You've got to do your work.
And I've spoke to a few people who I like went to college and uni with and things like that, who did actually go into teaching, and like, and some of the things they tell me, I'm just like, wow, you sound like me, only I just work for me. So I'm doing this like for my own kind of like business, to build a business, to further it along. And like, she's just like, yeah, like, no, we're doing it because like, obviously you can't just like give up on the kids, but you can't like just shift work off until the next day, or you can't like, it's not happening. And then I suppose like being made to feel a little bit guilty and stuff like that about like the kids maybe not having anybody to run the after school club or whatever it will be. So then you end up taking on more things and doing more stuff. And
it's mad for that. It is mad for that culture of not saying no. like saying yes to everything. And do you know what? I think that comes a lot from the fact that, like, probably the same if you wanted to go into teaching and have the fact that you're doing coaching, helping people that way. It's that thing of like, you're not really pushed by money. It's more helping people.
Yeah.
And it's that, oh, I want to help. And then you always get that line of, oh, it's for the kids.
Yeah.
You've got to push it for the kids. And it just becomes mountains of work.
Yeah, that you don't think people are expecting,
No.
are they? But like, it is the case.
It's mad. Like, as you say, it's your day is 12 hours as a teacher and you teach for 4.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
No.
Like 8 hours of admin work. That's what teaching is. And do you know what? Like, when you actually like sit down and you're like, what is that admin work? Like, there's none. Like, there's
don't know what it actually is. Like, it's just like we spend time doing these little tasks.
Yeah, that's it. Like, there's big jobs, there's small jobs, there's all of it. But you actually sit down and you're like, what have I spent another 8 hours doing today? And if you ticked off like how much this helped the kids, like none of it would. Like, I was chatting to another teacher, Dan, we have in the he works inside the program. We always talk about teaching. We do it like on a private members podcast. And he said there was one term where his head was like, oh, we need you to do this data plan and move everything that way. And he did it, and it was taking like an hour extra a week, and he was doing it. And he had a data plan which automatically generated for him, and then he had to take it off that one and put it on this other one so it matched the school one. And he knew his head like, well, he'd been working there a while, and he was like, I'm not doing that anymore because it's an hour extra a week, it's eating into my time, and I'm not even using it because I'm using the other one where it's automatically generated. And she was like, oh, that's fine. I was asking you to do it because I thought you'd want to be on the same one as the rest of the school. And he was like, no, it's fine.
Yeah, like, we're all good with that. Like, it's fine, it's done.
But that's it. And I know if he hadn't worked on himself so much, he never would have said that to her.
Yeah.
So he would have just spent his entire time in the classroom sacrificing an hour a week to put this data in, which nobody wanted.
No, nobody needed it.
Because everyone thought they were being nice to the other person by doing it.
And I think like that, she was the person I was speaking to about this, because like it's like catching up with like an old college friend. But like she was saying to me that like she was like, it's not like she's going traveling, by the way. Like, so like just she's taking a break, she's going traveling. She's only my age. She was like, if I don't do it now, I probably won't do it. So I was like, yeah, I'm like, fantastic. So she's going traveling, which is dead exciting for her. But she was like, I am gonna seriously miss my job. I love the kids I work with. She went literally like, I wouldn't change the fact that I'm helping the kids, that I'm teaching. She's a primary school teacher. She was like, that I'm like, teaching in primary. She was like, I love that whole aspect of everything. She was like, it's just like the paperwork, the admin work, the stuff that the kids don't even need. She went, it's all of that stuff. Like, she said that puts her off kind of like being a teacher. Like, that's what puts her off. That all of the extra stuff that like isn't really like for the kids. It's more for like, like purposes of ticking a box.
Do you know what? There's so much of that. Like, honestly, the amount of like schools that believe that if you don't do stuff yourself, then it's not going to be as good. Like, Twinkle is this massive teacher resource site. I don't know whether you know of it, but it's basically like a subscription where you basically like PowerPoints, worksheets, planning, it's all done on it.
But that's like saves some time, doesn't it?
Well, it would, but loads of schools are like,
don't use that.
Don't use that. Like, I don't like that it's got the logo on it. So then you've got teachers who will take the Twinkle PowerPoint and then copy it over onto a new PowerPoint, so that it's not got branding on it. Like, or if they do worksheets, they'll have to like cut round and photocopy it so it doesn't have it on, or they'll edit stuff because there's this idea that you do it better than getting someone else to do it, which is like almost the opposite. Like, we both know in business now, like, you get people in who are better than you to do stuff. Yeah. Like Chris, who's on the other side of this camera. Like, he's filming this.
Like, we're not good with the camera because that's not our job.
Because it'd be a nightmare. It'd be a nightmare. So he does the editing there.
Yeah.
And it's the same with this. Like, Twinkle pays someone like 30, 40 grand probably a year to just make geography PowerPoints.
Yeah.
But yet you have schools saying, you can probably do that better than them in the 15-minute spare you've got.
But it's just like, no, there's no minute spare. Like,
There's
from
no,
what I've heard, there's no minute spare.
There's no minute spare, but it's also like, oh, you're not. Do you make that yourself? No, not as good a teacher.
I just feel like, like if the kids are still getting the same information from it, like say if you put a PowerPoint together and then you pulled a PowerPoint off Twinkle or whatever, like if the kids are still getting the same quality of education or same value from that PowerPoint, I really don't see
to me they're getting a better quality, because like if I've come to a lesson and I'm like, right, what have I got to teach? And like geography, okay, download it, PowerPoint, resources, look at the plan, go, okay, know what I'm doing, I'm fresh, I'm ready to go, I know what to do. If the night before I'd had to spend an hour making the worksheet to make them like look right, because you still want them to look right for the kids, and that's what Twinkle do. Makes it sound like I'm sponsored by them.
No, but it does feed into the whole thing of like if you've not got the time to do it, or you could be utilising your energy elsewhere in a better way, then like if you can pay somebody to do it,
then
like,
you should
do it.
And that's the big thing, I think, which kills it, like the admin side. There's so much work in teaching that doesn't need to be. It comes from the fear of Ofsted, stupid little things like that. And like there's stuff like there is schools out there which ask for planning weekly because Ofsted will want it. Ofsted can't even look at planning. They say like, oh, we can't look at it, we can't tell you how to teach.
I remember the big deal Ofsted was in school as well, by the way. Like, Ofsted's coming in, so everybody better be good. Like, you're getting it if Ofsted coming in and you're naughty.
And they are a killer, Ofsted. Ofsted are an absolute killer, but they're almost like made out.
Yeah, to be like this big, horrible beast.
I would say it's the equivalent of Ofsted are like breaking your arm, but it's made out like you cut your arm off.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the levels that some schools go to.
Yeah.
Some schools spend 2 years prepping for Ofsted, like the fear of it, rather than just being confident in the teachers and saying, do you know what? We know if Ofsted come in, we'll be good.
Yeah, like we've got good teachers on board.
Yeah,
like,
we've got good teachers. We've got everything. We know if they come in, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But they spend so much time trying to be perfect, trying to get every little detail and being an impossible standard, which then the teachers drum into the kids that you shouldn't be like that. You're meant to get stuff wrong. You're meant to. But when Ofsted come in, it's like, no.
It's a different story.
You've got to be perfect.
Yeah.
And that feeds so much into like the toxic culture of teachers. It's got to be perfect. Like if you're the first in, the last out, you're doing the best job.
Yeah.
When it should be the other way. If someone is saying, I'm doing a 14, 15 hour day, then it should be like, well, either you have a time management problem, which we need to fix, or we're failing you as a school. Yeah. And that's the way it should be. But it's not. It's like, can you get 16 in?
Like no, it's like they want to squeeze more work. The most work possible. But like equally, like I also feel like that whole perfectionism thing like feeds into like kind of like what we do as a job. So like we obviously like coach people to feel healthier, fitter, like more confident, like lose body fat, things like that, which is, if you're watching this, you probably know that. But like I feel as though like that whole perfectionism thing comes into it massively. So like if people can't do something perfect, they think it's not worth doing. Yeah. And I'm like, no, like you can do something like and be 1% better every single day and still make amazing progress.
And that's the big one. And I think to me that's why I focus on teachers massively, because I've done the job, because I know it, and because it is breaking that mindset with it. Because teachers suffer all or nothing with that all or nothing mentality, everything being perfect, everything being like perfect from day one, and it is breaking that. That's why, be honest, when someone comes into my program, we look at training, we look at calories, we make sure that, but a lot of it, like 70-80% of my program is mindset, is
and
webinars.
Looking at your lifestyle factors and things like that. Like if your sleep and stress are not good and they're really at like really terrible levels, like how can you expect to be achieving any kind of like fat loss, physique, like energy level goal, like if everything else is shot? It's kind of hard to do that. So I think that's a good place to start, to be honest.
I think it's a good place with anyone, but it's that mindset. Like to me, mindset's everything, because I don't know what your opinion on it is, but I truly believe that no one has got fat, put on weight by having too big a portion size. You know, by being like, oh, Like I was eating too much rice on that meal.
Yeah.
It's always emotional eating. It's always like not being properly prepared. So you order the takeaways in. It's fear
always
of
some
missing
kind
out.
of mindset thing, related thing, and like I think it even bleeds into like things like self belief. Like if you don't believe that you can do something, you haven't got the mindset to think like, yes, like I can achieve these goals, then you probably won't. And like I think mindset plays a massive part that people don't even understand.
Oh, it's massive, and I think that's almost a journey as a coach as well. Like I don't know about you, but my coaching has changed massively.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning you are just like, yeah, it's just calories. It's just calories and training.
Yeah.
And that's all we need to do.
Mine's
and we'll get
changed
there.
tremendously.
And you know, even to the point of I know the first people I was training, I would work out their calories and then be like, you probably won't stick to this, so I'll just make them lower. I'll make them lower so that then even if they overeat, they'll still stick to it. And now I'm like, no, do you know what? Let's grow that mindset. Let's get them to a place where they've got a good relationship with food.
Yeah.
And then they'll stick to the calories because they're not rock bottom. They're not low. I always have a rule. Obviously, most of my clients are on more. But like 1,600 is my bare minimum now. Like you can't go lower than that.
I just think like, how can you break, like, especially if like, obviously you're dealing with teachers as well. So I just feel like if you're dealing with teachers who've got to kind of concentrate for a lot of the day, give a lot of kind of energy and brain capacity to their job, like how can you expect somebody to function properly if they're eating like 1,200 calories?
That's it. And it's little things like that, like going there like 1,600 minimum for me. We'll do it in different ways, like, you know, for different people, but 1,600 to me is just the bare rock bottom minimum
of what you could be getting, like your nutritional amounts
like because it's a miserable life if you're not. Like I always think you've got to be able to have at least, I would say, 3 meals of 500 calories. If you can't have 3 meals of 500 calories a day, your diet's wrong. And if you are like, don't go, you don't have to eat like 3, but if you can't fit that in, it's wrong because you need to feel full. Like whenever anyone says like they rely on snacking, or you know they need little energy boosts, or they need a bit of a chocolate fix, or they need little snacks throughout the day, well that to me just says that your meals aren't big enough.
That your meals aren't satiating enough. They're not got enough of the right things in.
If you need something to eat at 10 o'clock and you had breakfast at 8 and you are like, well, I need to eat something at 10, well, your breakfast should have been like 200 calories more.
And then maybe you'd have felt a bit more satiated.
And that's it. Like if you nail the meals, you nail breakfast, lunch and dinner, and you aren't hungry at all with them, then you're laughing. Your snack should be just for fun. You should be able to have a chocolate bar, and then you can have the chocolate bar or the bag of crisps and not be like, oh, I could do with another one of them because it's not filling a hole. Because
at least if your meals are packed out and like actually nutritionally dense, then you are not going to be feeling hungry after that chocolate bar, if that makes any sense. So like it really truly is just for like emotional happiness purposes, because people are like, oh yes, like a little bit of chocolate just to like keep me, you know what I mean? Like it just keeps people engaged in like the diet part of things, like to be able to include things that they enjoy.
Then, isn't it? I was remember Chloe doing a webinar for all my team, and she said on it, she said, when do you eat chocolate and crisp and all ice cream and snacks? It's normally, even though it's your favorite food, it's normally when you are starving and you need something and you wolf it down and you don't enjoy it anyway. So if you love brownies, you'll nail 6 of them and be like, now I feel bloated, stuffed.
Now I feel horrible. And like you're not, and to be honest, like you're hungry in an hour again.
Where if you had a big 400-500 calorie meal, real kind of high kind of in nutrition food, but as well like stuff like potato, which is going to pack it out, make you feel full, and then you have a brownie after it, you're going to eat it slower, you're going to enjoy it, and you're not going to have that like fix on anything. And
you're not going to be like, oh, I'm so starving, like after that big meal and brownie. Like you'll be more starving after eating 3 brownies and like nailing them without even thinking about it or like mindfully eating it or anything like that, without having something kind of nutritionally dense to balance that out, because it is all about balance at the end of the day.
That's it, and that's the big one for me. It's that mindset shift now, because it shouldn't be where you are on 10 days or 12 days, whenever, 2 weeks. It should be where you're going to be in 12 months.
And I think a lot of people have this idea that like they have to diet really, really restrictively. They have to be on 1,200 calories. They have to go to the gym 7 days a week. And I'm just like, what do you think this is? Like, are you a bodybuilder? Like, what? Like, where do you think you're trying to get? Are you getting on stage? I'm like, if it's not like you're not a competitive kind of like physique person, or you're not in any of like, then that's not for you. You don't need to be doing that. Like, that's bikini girl bodybuilder style stuff. Like, the everyday person wanting to shed a few pounds, feel better, feel healthier, feel more energized, have more kind of like brain capacity to do things, like concentration, things like that. Like, it's just about becoming actually healthy, and as a byproduct kind of becoming healthy, like, you're more than likely going to lose body fat.
Well, that's it. If you spend the next 12 months living the life of a healthy person, getting your steps in, going training regularly, eating in a calorie deficit, like getting the nutrition in, eating your fruit and veg, drinking water, getting good sleep,
actually
all this,
building proper
like,
habits.
Yeah, like, there is no way you're not going to be in a better place in 12 months' time.
Yeah,
100%. And that's
100%.
what it should be about. And that's what I like. Probably you're the same with your ones, whether they're with you or not. Most of mine stay for about 12 months. But even like after that, when people leave, because there should be a point where people leave and they're like,
well,
"Do you
yeah,
know
because
what?"
then they feel confident enough to go on their own
Confident.
and employ the methods
That's it.
and the habits that you've kind of helped them instill.
That's
So
it.
that's
Well,
kind of like the goal, isn't it?
that's the
They
big
to
one. Like,
eventually get everyone to
I
eat.
think I absolutely smashed it while he was with me. He was doing really, really well. And then he was like, "Do you know what? I'm going to go by myself now. I'm going to see how it's going." I was touching base now and again. And like 6 months later, I dropped in with it on him and was like, "Hey, how you getting on?
How's things?
How's things?" And he was like, down another, I think it was like another 3 stone, like ridiculous body changes.
Yeah.
Is he where he wants to be yet? No. But is he happy? Yeah, because he knows he's moving forward, and he
Yeah.
knows if he keeps going, he's going to get there because he likes what he's doing. It's working. And he knows, like, you're probably the same. Like, no, I'm not kind of a bit of a knob with it. I'm not going to, if he's like, "Hey, I'm really struggling with this," I'm not going to be like, "Well, here's the link to pay."
No.
I'm going to be like, "What's up?"
Just like, what's the struggle?
Yeah,
Like,
like
we've.
some people come back because like they might be like, "Oh, I've just lost my way a bit."
Yeah.
But some people will be like, "I just can't lose any more weight," and then I'll be like, "Okay, well, what's going on? Is everything still the same?" "Yeah, okay, well, so maybe you need to just reduce your calories a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to change your exercise a bit to be a bit
add
more."
some more output or
That's
whatever
it.
it might be.
And then he'll be like, "Oh, it's working again." Like, and that to me is the big one. It's about that long-term journey.
Yeah.
Should be about where you're going to be for the rest of your life.
I think a lot of people think it's going to happen in like 2 months, and I'm like, probably not enough time to actually build and instill habits over a long-term period that are actually going to stick in your life. It's like I had a client, like, no, like I had one of my clients, she wouldn't mind me talking about this, so like I'll use her as an example. So one of my clients, Val, she worked with me for, I think, around 11, 12 months. So she was with me for quite a while. And over that time, we were doing like a little bit of a dieting phase, busy uni student, working a couple of jobs, you know, like quite a busy life. Like, so it wasn't anything extreme. It wasn't anything crazy to stick to. She's Italian as well, and she loves like hometown food and goes back to see her parents and things like that. So that was something that we didn't really want to lose. We didn't want to lose that variety or that part of her identity, because as much as, like, you know, food isn't like kind of like your whole identity, part of her cultural food is part of her identity. That part of it is. And so we didn't want to get rid of that. So what we did was just teach her how to be able to enjoy those foods moderately whilst adding things into her diet that are more nutritionally dense than what she was eating previously. So rather than just taking everything away and being like, right, that's it, you can't have that, no pasta, no this.
Binge.
Yeah, like it was just like, no, eat those things, but like let's like eat them a bit more moderately. Let's teach you how to actually add things into your diet rather than take away. So we just filled our diet full of lots of nutrient-dense foods, more veggies, more protein sources, got her knowing kind of how much is right for her to eat in a day. And like by doing that, she soon enough lost the weight that she wants to lose. And we reverse dieted her up to a very nice level where she felt more flexible. She could enjoy more social events. She's kept up with the training and everything like that. And I touched base with her a couple of months ago. She's probably left the team now around 6 months. So I thought I'll just give her a little check-in, see how she's doing. And she was just like, no, like things are going great. Like she's maintaining everything. She's more active than ever. She's less of a gym girl, still goes, but like she's more of a climbing person now. She's found more active hobbies.
And that's it. And that's the thing, like, don't get me wrong, resistance training has massive
Oh,
benefits
humongous.
because it's going to give you that strength and stuff like that. But people get so obsessed by it.
Yeah.
Like it should always be in your
routine.
In your routine. But if you go once to do a full body workout and then you're going climbing and you're going on a walk and you're doing this
she
and
does
you're
like
doing
20,000 steps a day as well. The girl loves getting out walking, goes on bike rides. Climbing is like her first love these days. So like she is literally like, I think she climbs like maybe 4 times a week, and then she goes to the gym to do full body workouts. She around like normally twice a week. She used to go 3 times a week and sometimes throw in another one when she was proper like kind of like going for it and into the gym. But like she found that she obviously with losing a little bit of weight and things like that, she could climb easier and she was becoming stronger whilst doing it. So she was just like this is my like sport, like this is my thing.
100%. And,
like,
and that's something she's going to do forever then.
Oh my God, she loves it. So I was just made up, to be honest, that like it was, for me, it was kind of like, I love resistance training. Like I love it. That's my thing. But I know that's not going to be everybody's like main source of happiness. And for her, she likes going to the gym. She loves feeling strong, but climbing for her is something that actually truly brings her joy, and it's like an active activity. Yeah. So for her, it was like kind of proven to me that that was a real lifestyle change for her. She'd gone from not really being able to do that, like not really being able to climb, not really being able to go to the gym, feeling really anxious about that kind of setting, to kind of literally being one of the most confident people I know, like ridiculously so, and actually having active hobbies, which like was not what she was doing before.
And do you know what? I think you've hit on a perfect thing there, that confidence. Like everyone says they want to lose weight. No one wants to lose weight. No one is bothered actually about losing weight. It's getting that confidence. And it's like you talk about adding food and adding this in. Everything should be about growing your confidence. It shouldn't be how many pounds can you lose this week? How many dress sizes can you go down? How much of this can you do? How much of that can you do? It should be how much you can grow in confidence. And she hasn't grown in that confidence because she's lost weight. That weight loss has been a bit of a byproduct because she's doing all these activities she loves. She's found food and a good balance with it, and she feels good in her own skin.
Yeah.
And that's why it's staying long term, because she enjoys what she does. She's feeling good from it. And yeah, like everyone, there's times when you got to suck it up a little bit. Do stuff that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But it's that big one, and that's what people get obsessed about. It's that confidence. It's, like, I've got to do this or I've got to do that to get to here, and then I can go back to how I lived before. Now, how you lived
there's
before,
got to be a change. It's gone. That's gone.
How you lived before made you feel horrible all the time.
Yeah.
So you've got to do something a little bit different to feel better. Yeah. And then when you get that confidence, it's going to stick with you forever.
And I think that's like where a lot of people go wrong as well, and why results like kind of don't stick for some people, because they think that, oh, I'll just do this diet, like, and then when I'm at the end of the diet, I'll just go back to what I was doing. And I'm like, no, because like those are the behaviours that got you in the situation that you don't want to be in.
The cabbage
so I'm
soup
like,
diet.
don't do
I'll
that.
Just nail cabbage soup
all
day.
I'm like, no, don't do that. There's so much, like, it's like losing body fat and getting healthy is simple. It's not easy for everybody because everyone's got different like responsibilities and different things that they need to do in a day and in a week and all of those things. It's not easy, but it is simple. Like it's building those habits so that you don't actually want to go back to how you were living before. And I think that's the main thing, finding enjoyment in things. And as well, that's the whole reason why I never kind of promote to my girls to cut out food groups or cut out like this. Oh, you love Snickers, don't ever eat a Snickers on this program. Then like I'm like, no, like let's find a way to include that Snickers a day and still kind of get like a really nutrient dense diet in as well. Like let's find a way to make this enjoyable for you. Like let's try some foods that maybe you've never tried before that you actually would love, and like let's make it fun. Let's provide you with recipes so that you can make something that tastes good. Like it's about, you can't go back to the way you were before. You're right, that identity, that kind of that person's gone. You've replaced it with a new version of you, a slightly different identity, and like you have to remain this way and continue with those habits that you've built. Otherwise, like the person that you've built, the person you see in the mirror, like that's gonna disappear if you don't do that.
No, I agree massively with that, because it's creating that new person. As you said, it's creating that new person, it's creating those new habits, because what you were doing before made you miserable.
Yeah.
So why be like, oh, I'll just go back to that?
I think people just, I don't know. I don't know. I think the mentality is just like based on loads of things, like maybe like busyness at work, maybe like, like the weather and whether it's winter in the UK or not and stuff like that. But like, I think people just go like, well, I've done the work. So like, surely I can
just chill now.
Yeah, surely like it's chill time. And I'm like, no, like this is like what like living an active, healthy life is. And that's why it's important to find something that is sustainable for you, because we need to be able to do this consistently for as long as you can walk around and be active.
That's why I think it's important to look at 12 months in the future. Like where it's going to take you in 12 months. Because if you can't do something if you can't look at what you're doing now and think, I can do this for a year, then it's not right for you.
You're not going to do it for like 4 years. So like, don't do it. Like, that's why when people first come to you, have you ever had anybody who comes to you and goes like, oh my God, like I just want to lose some fat. Like I want to feel more confident. So I want to train 7 days. I want to train 7 days, and like calories, like listen, like I'll cut out like crisp, I'll cut out chocolate, like I'll cut out whatever you need me to cut out, like I'll just do it. And I'm just like, stop, immediately stop. I'm like, in 12 months time, are you never gonna have a bag of crisp? Like are you never gonna have a chocolate bar? I'm like, it's unlikely. I'm like, so we need to find something that's consistent for you. Are you going to go to the gym 7 days a week? Probably not. So with your work schedule, with this, that, the other, like how are you going to manage that? 3 is probably going to be a bit more like,
well, that's why
consistent for you.
We always have maximum minimums. The first question I would say is like, right, it's manic in work. What's the minimum amount of times you want to go to the gym? And still on a Sunday night feel, oh, do you know what?
I've done all right.
I've done all right. And then normally like 2. They're like, okay, perfect week. And like 5. I'm like, okay, well, we'll make sure we nail everything in 2. And then we'll add extra stuff in for the other days. And that's the way to do it. Have that balance, have that maximum in, because everyone wants to go 7 days a week. And I would say like,
it's not happening.
First year of a new year, like first week rather of a new year, everyone's like, right, I'm going to go 7 days a week. They go and smash out that 7 days. They're tired. They're drained of energy. They don't go back. If you went twice, you keep it up for a year.
That's better.
104 times versus 7. Yes, 7 sounds better than 2. 104 sounds a hell of a lot better than 7.
Like, honestly, like literally, like, I always just think, like, start off small and then you can always add in, rather than starting off huge and then you've got to start taking things away. You feel more disappointed in yourself because you're like, I used to go 7 days and now I can only do 5. And it's like, no, it's like, don't start taking on more than you can bite off. Like, it's not, you don't need to do that. Like, and to get a really amazing, like, if you even talking from like a physical standpoint, like I know there are people probably listening to this who think, well, yeah, I do want to like look better. Like I do want to look good.
Everyone wants to.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in that, but it's that idea, isn't it, of like, yes, you can do it for 8 weeks and lose that weight that you could probably lose in 3 months.
Yeah.
But you aren't going to keep it off.
You're going to gain it back.
You're going to gain it back. You're probably going to gain it back tenfold, because you've done for if anyone's got any serious weight on them they want to lose, in 8 weeks you can make a good dent.
Yeah.
You can really change that, but you have to grind it out, and you are going to hate that life.
And then you're going to want to give up because you're like, if that's what fitness is, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. You're like, I've worked hard for this, right? Now I'm going to have Domino's, KFC, Mackey's. It's the same with everything. And it's because the fitness industry is absolutely full of insecure people who don't talk about proper stuff.
Yeah.
It's full of people who stick steroids in themselves, or probably have bulimia, or what, like all these issues, which are massive issues.
And people don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about that. So rather than saying like, oh, I'm skinny because like I don't eat, or like I've got a problem with food and, I throw up after I eat, which I know PTs I've spoke to who do.
Yeah.
Like, rather than doing that, they just like, oh, well, I just do this, but they can't tell you what they do. So they make something up, which then you go and follow, and you feel a failure because it doesn't get you there.
Yeah, it doesn't get you what you want. It doesn't get you what you think you should look like, or the ideal of what, like, this person looks like. So you think if I do what they do, I'll look like them. Like, no, like some people, you got to remember, like some people have got the time and the energy levels and the wants to train 5 to 7 times a week. Like some people don't have that luxury. And from that like kind of I want to look good standpoint, like I was asked this on a consultation call the other day. So I'm gonna actually use it. So one of the new girls who signed up to me recently asked me, like, you know, she was talking about how she always kind of overextends herself and always like commits herself to a bit more than she can actually do, in every sense of the word, at work, in fitness, with everything. And I said to her, so how many times a week would you want to go to the gym, like so we can, you know, get planning with your gym sessions and things like that? She was like,
8.
you know, like I'd like to go a good 5 times, I think. And I went to her, and do we feel like we're maybe overextending ourselves? I said, like, realistically, I was like, with what you do for a job, with all of the studying you're doing, with the kids, with all of this, I was like, can we really do 5 times a week? I said, or is it a bit more realistic to say 3 times a week, full body, we'll do 45 minutes a session. It'll fit nice around the kids. You'll be able to fit that in kind of wherever in your week fits. And then if that goes well and you do want to add another day, then fantastic. Yeah. We'll add another day in and see how that goes. I was like, do we feel like that's a better idea? And she was like, you know what? Yeah, it probably will. But will I still get a good result from that? I want to look like I go to the gym. I want to look like I train. Yeah. I want to look like I actually am fit. And I was like, 100%, like 100%. You're getting enough like frequency in terms of like hitting muscle groups and things like that. You go into the gym enough times if you're going 3 times a week. If you want to go more than that, then like I like that's perfectly fine. If that fits for your schedule, it fits for my schedule to go 4 times a week, so that's what I do. Then that's great, and you can play around with more like body part splits and whatever. But like if you can't get there and like 3 times all you can do, like don't think for a second that doesn't mean you're gonna get a good result. You'll absolutely still get a good result, and you'll still look like you go to the gym if that's your goal. So like don't be thinking, oh god, it's 3 times a cop out. No,
it's people bother about that stuff though. They're like, how many times a week should they go? When they don't look at how long they're gonna go for.
Yeah,
like you are gonna get so much more out of 3 times a week for a year
consistently
than 5 times for a month. Then not be banging it. Like you're giving a hell of a lot. Then if you've got a busy schedule, you're trying to fit in an extra 5 hours plus your calorie deficit. If you don't get the results you want in the first month, which you're not going to get because like you're not, because everyone's got unrealistic goals about what they can do in a month.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking everyone overestimates what you can do in a week, everyone overestimates what you can do in a month, and everyone underestimates what you can do in a year.
And that's why when it comes to this time of year though, Martin, and people go, no chance of getting in a bikini anyway, so like I might as well just sack it off. And I'm like, no, this is the problem. I'm like, this is the problem that you had last year when it came to getting in a bikini or getting in the swim shorts or whatever it was. Your first thought was, I'm going to have to do something about this. Yeah. And like you're 8 weeks out from this holiday and it's like, whoa. So like you're going to have to go on this mad crash diet for 8 weeks or whatever it is to then go away, feel comfortable in that bikini or the swim shorts or whatever, come back home, repeat the cycle again. It's now winter time, so you're going to give up on all that fitness stuff, not going to put in the work now because, you know, we'll think about that closer to the time. And then the closest to the time never comes, and it's kind of like we're in the same situation again. Well, we're doing this quick fix thing again.
I saw a brilliant one on that where it said like everyone who now in November is saying they're going to start in January never will, because now the stuff in November is the stuff that you've been putting off since January.
Yeah, like just do it. Like instead of, I always think like, I think people think like on Instagram and social media and stuff, like they look at coaches and we're like, start now. And it's like, we are actually saying it because we know how this goes. Yeah. Like it's genuinely not just like some marketing tactic. It's real. It's like if you start now, you 100% will be far closer to where you want to be by the time it rolls around again for you to, you know, be showing your body off or whatever it is, or for you wanting to feel comfy on the beach. So like you'll 100% be closer or at that goal that you set yourself. If you leave it and then like January passes, February passes, and all of a sudden we're heading into spring again, and then oh bang, it's summer and you've not done what you set out to do. And you know, it starts to be a bit depressing, but like how quick did the months go by? Like,
that's it. And do you know what? And I think again, everyone underestimates stuff. Like people say now, like, oh, I've got to start in January because it's always there. It's 2 months away.
Like, you've got time.
It's 2 months away. But as you said, but when they're 8 weeks away from a holiday, they're like, this is the perfect time for me to nail it.
Like, and as well, like I just think like Christmas. So people go like, I'm not going to start now because like Christmas is coming in 6 weeks or whatever. I think we're around 6 weeks-ish away, and I'm like, like Christmas is coming, but like it's just like a day. Like, it's Christmas is a few days,
you know what?
like
we talk about that loads on our program. When we start getting into Christmas, we always try and think like everyone on the program loves what they do. Obviously you're restricted in a calorie deficit, but you're not restricted on your food.
Yeah,
you can go out for meals, you can enjoy it. So if you think about Christmas, it's that one day.
Like, it's
restraint
rather than restriction.
That's it. But it's what? Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. So 2 days. A night out with work, 3 days.
Yeah.
A night out with your mates, 4 days. And maybe a day out with your partner. So 5. So 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then apart from that, like, say, and most of them won't even be that bad. It's the Terry's chocolate orange that you're nailing because you've just got it from Asda.
Yeah.
Like little things from that.
And I think people get into the month of December and it's just kind of like, because it's what they've always done and because there's no habits that they've built in the run-up to this event, it's like they think that their efforts won't matter anyway. So it's like, they're just like, oh, well, I'll nail that because like I've got it. I'll nail that because it's a box of celebrations and I need that out by January. And I'm like, no, you don't need it out by January. I'm like, you're fine. Like, if you start now and start implementing some habits that will actually help you manage social events and actually help you to maintain whatever progression it is that you make over these like busy social times, then you'll be fine.
And that's it. Like, that's it. That's the big one, isn't it? It's about that change of lifestyle, which no one does. Like, they massively gluttonous for 2 months and then don't do anything in January. Just enjoy January. Like, get to a place where you just love it all, and that can be the big one. And then it's as you said, it's 5 days. Then
it's not
5 days,
month.
and
like and I know like Costa, Starbucks, and all that. I'll all have like the Christmas menus on and stuff, and like somebody made me laugh on Instagram the other day because I put something up about like Christmas coming, and I'm like, it's not a whole month, and somebody put like something under one of my videos like, yeah, but the mince pies in Starbucks are out already, and like they're the cause of everything, like messing around. And I was like, yeah, but like, isn't that actually a good thing? Because if that mince pie that you love comes out 2 months before Christmas, then that means you don't have to ram it all in 1 week, do you? You can have a mince pie now. You can have a mince pie in 2 weeks' time. You can have a mince pie on Christmas. Like, you can, like, I'm like, you don't need to like just like ram it all in 1 week. It's great. Like, all of the Christmas stuff is out now. You can go to the Starbucks and get your favourite mocha or whatever it is, and you can have that. And then it doesn't mean you have to have that one every single day up until Christmas. Like, have that and then have another one next week. Try something else. Like, it doesn't. You don't need to be so restrictive in the approach of like, I can't have anything nice, anything that I like to do with Christmas other than like the week of Christmas.
That's
like.
It. And do you know what? I think sometimes it's about not just Christmas, just in general, just thinking about calories from a different point of view. Like, perfect example, me and Robin, we were over in Ireland, visiting a family, and we went into met a couple of mates in Starbucks. I went up to all the drinks, and it was like, all the Christmas stuff was out. So I was like, oh, I'll get myself a Christmas hot chocolate. But it had all the calories there. Yeah. And it was like 400 calories for a hot chocolate. And I thought, I don't even like it that much. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it that much. What's the difference for me having a hot chocolate to a Diet Coke? No, I probably prefer the Diet Coke. So then I'm like, well, do you know what? I'll get a Diet Coke and I'll eat something later that I actually want. And I think that's the stuff where almost taking yourself out the moment for a bit sometimes, and not denying yourself, like, if you love the mince pies and you're like, oh, I need them, fine, have them. But if you're having one, like, just for the sake of it, sometimes it's like I was going to have that chocolate for the sake of it. And I thought,
because you were there,
I thought, well, actually, what's the difference between that and a Diet Coke for me? Nothing. And it's 400 calories. That's like 2 chocolate bars.
And so you might as well have a chocolate bar when you get in.
I'd rather have the chocolate bar. So it's not that I'm denying myself it. It's just that I think about food differently now.
It's restraint rather than restriction. It's knowing that just because you can have it doesn't mean you always need to have it. Yeah. You don't always need to do that. And it's like, as well, like, there's loads of things you can do to reduce calories of things that you actually like as well that hardly make any difference. So, like, just a little tip if you are a Starbucks lover, because I am, and a Costa lover, and I love all the Christmas things coming out. I'm like, when it all comes out.
Just no go.
So I am a hot drink fiend. So, like, that is me. So if that's you watching, like, I feel you on that. So, like, I'll just make sure that I'm going for, like, the lower calorie option. So I'll still give myself the free reign of choosing what I want, but I'll just, like, help the fire a little bit. So let's say I'd rather get, like, let's say the hot chocolate, right? This Christmas hot chocolate, but instead of going for the largest cup, the most whipped cream, the higher calorie milk or whatever, like, I'll just go for the smaller option. I'll go for light on the cream, so I can still enjoy the cream, but it doesn't need to be a big stack like that. I'll go for the lower calorie milk option. And there you've shaved off a few hundred calories. And
That's it. And it's little things
still the
like
same
that.
thing. Still.
It's like I had one and it was a perfect one. I use it all the time now, which is just happiness over pleasure.
Yeah.
So like happiness is how you're going to be long term from it.
Pleasure's
in the moment. And neither's right or wrong. There are sometimes like that Starbucks mince pie. Like
sometimes when it's like, yeah.
Well, it's not there all the time.
Yeah, you
have one, you enjoy it, you're going to get pleasure from
it.
But then most of the time the answer should be happiness, because it's like, okay, well, if I have that now, what's going to weigh out more? You're like, well, I'm going to feel better long term from having this. And I think that snaps you out of the random takeaway, because I always say everyone should have takeaways when they want them, but no one actually has takeaways when they want them. You have them when you're tired,
when you can't be bothered,
when you can't be bothered, and then you eat it and go, didn't enjoy that, I didn't want it.
Yeah.
Where when you plan it,
it's so much more exciting.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I enjoy this. I know what I'm getting. I know what I'm going to want.
Or if you plan to go out for food and you're like, you're going. So you're like, yeah, that's what I'm going to have. Like,
that's it. And that gets to the point where you don't have to worry for the rest of the day, where you're like, you're fasting, or the next day thinking, oh, I'm not going to eat anything.
Yeah, because I ate that thing last night. I'm like, no, you've been sound. You've hit all your targets, and then you've been out for a little bit of food.
That's it. And when you go out for food, it should always be, I always say to everyone, like, it should be not worrying about the calories. Instead, I just say, just don't eat like an idiot.
That's literally what I say. I go, why, like, I'm like, you're not a kid at like a birthday party. Like, you're an adult, so like you can show restraint. It's not restriction. It's instead of like, you know, let's say you order a portion of salt and pepper chicken, they're huge in the Chinese, and I know you've seen that, you know they're huge. It's like you order like a portion of that, like a portion of chips and a portion of rice, right? Like, you don't need to eat that whole thing. Like, you know, like that like you're gonna feel so terrible if you eat that full thing, because like not guilt wise, like as in like
just
actual body wise, like
just
stuffed.
like, oh, should
like, you know, when you knock yourself sick because you've ate that much, like you're gonna just think like, I feel awful now after eating all that. So like, why do it? Like, why not take a few bits of chicken? Oh, I'll have half that rice and I'll have half that portion of chips instead. Like, it doesn't need to be. You don't need to eat the whole thing. Don't need to be massive. Yeah.
And that's it. And I would say, like, it's like that with
share it.
Like, don't go out and order a starter platter for like two and just have it by yourself.
Yeah, like have it with two.
People do. People are like, oh, I'll get the big one because it's the only time I'm going out. It's the only time I'm going out.
Because now with your new habits in place, you can go out. Yeah, you can go out. You can make good choices.
That's where all the stuff like diet culture and fitness is ridiculous. Like cheat days. Cheat days are nonsense.
Oh my God.
Cheat days are because people swear so restricted
they need
this one day. And that's the thing with it. Like, when you start enjoying life, when you start enjoying your food and it's getting you to where you want to be, that's the sweet spot. You're not going to get it overnight. You're not going to get it on an 8-week quick transformation. It's going to come from that long term. And probably the same as me, like when people leave you as a coach, they're not going to be in the exact place where they want to be, but they're on a journey where they know, like, they are on that forever.
Yeah.
And it's in 5 years, in 10 years, they should always be getting like better, because it's that mentality growth.
100%. And I think like once you kind of realize that like on like the cheat days and stuff like that as well, like once you kind of realize that like you're not cheating anything, like, you know, you're not cheating anything. Like, if you practice restraint rather than restriction, and you get a really good balance with that, then you are never going to be cheating. You don't need to cheat. Food is not cheating. It's just learning how to like enjoy things at the right times for you. So that's something massive, I think, like for people to take away, because like cheat days are a bit no-no for me. Did a webinar on it, like explaining, because like someone asked me a question about cheat days, like someone very new to the team, and I was like,
it's because you just want to have fun. But if you are craving that day of just like,
I was like, then we're doing it wrong. Yeah, like,
you're doing it wrong. Your calories are too low then.
Because someone asked me opinion on it. I think like it was a couple of months ago now, and like I think it was one of the new girls, and like she was like, like, you know, like what's your kind of take on a
Yeah.
cheat day? Like what do you, like, do you know what I mean? Like, is that a thing? And I was like, it's not a thing. No, it's not a thing. I was like, don't do that. I was like, you don't need one, because you can have a chocolate bar in the week. You can, if you're going out for food with your fella or your missus or whatever, like you can do that.
Enjoy it.
Like on a Thursday, you went out for something to eat. Like that's fine. Like we don't need to wait until Saturday or Sunday for you to have this mad bingy cheat
mad day where you start off with a Mackey's, then you get a Subway, then you get a Domino's.
Whereas if you just like living life and just eating what you actually enjoy, you won't need to do that.
I always go through it like, if you went to Mackey's and got a breakfast from Mackey's and it's a cheat day, you're probably getting like an extra sausage and egg McMuffin, stuff like that.
You're probably getting like 4 hash browns. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
So
because you're like, oh my god, I'm never getting
calories,
this again.
1,000 calories. Subway for your lunch, another 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
Domino's, no one just gets a pizza, so it's going to be with sides. That's 4,000.
And you got your cookies as well.
Yeah, and it's your cheat day, so there's going to be ale, there's going to be snacks, there's going to be sweets. That's easily 10,000 calories in a day.
Before
and
you know
you have been in a deficit which has kept you 500 a day, so you're in a deficit of 3,000 and you've just eaten one day 10,000. You're going to end the week heavier.
Yeah.
Like,
and because you've restricted yourself that much,
that's it,
with your food choices. So it can actually be a really positive thing to include things like, again, whatever your favourite chocolate bar is. Yeah, like whatever.
Do you know what? It takes the power away from it.
Yeah.
Well, there's loads of people we have in the programme where if they're obsessed with a chocolate bar, they're like, oh, I love a dairy milk. Like, have it every day.
Yeah.
Because if you have it every day, there will be a day when you're like, do you know, I'm bored of this now. Like, I'm going to leave it. And then it stocks up and, you know, then all of a sudden you can have like 4 dairy milks in the fridge and you'll just pick them when you want. And the reason why most people struggle with it is because you say, I'm going to have it now and then I'm going to never have it again. But I really like this, so I might as well have 6 now because it's the last time.
I'm
and then
the
next day it's like, and now this is the last time, and it keeps building.
Yeah, when you just don't need to have that mentality. Like, actually including the foods that you love within your diet improves adherence.
It's the healthiest thing you can do. It's the healthiest thing. Obviously, you can't be an idiot with it. You can't be like,
I'm just going to have this.
I love chicken nuggets and chips.
So I'm having it every day.
I'm having just that. There's got to be that balance. But like, you're probably saying this to me, I never give a meal plan. I never give a diet plan. I'm always like, right, you've got to pick the food because you've got to love it.
Yeah.
And I'll always have people like, Mum Finn be really struggling. We'll jump on a call, be like, what's up? And like, I just don't like the food. And I'm like, you're picking it.
What are you picking?
But they are like, maybe they don't like turkey and they like pork, but they're like, I've read that turkey's healthier. I'm like, yeah, but it is healthier. Probably very slightly healthier, a little bit more calories,
maybe less fat content.
But if you are never eating it and then you are getting a takeaway, well, pork's going to be healthier. Because you like it, you enjoy it, you're going to look forward to it. You're not going to go, oh, God, not that again, I'll leave it.
Oh, the God, that pork. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need to as well, learning how, and you don't need to be a chef with it, by the way, but learning how to like cook and season foods and
it's
is a game changer, because if you can cook and season your own food and make things taste good, then the likelihood is that you're going to want to eat what you cook.
That's it. That's why most people don't like veg.
Because they don't know how to cook it.
Because they don't know how to cook it.
They
either cook it too much or it's too raw.
Yeah.
They don't put any seasoning on it.
Yeah.
Or they just see veg as one whole thing. Like, I don't like cauliflower, so don't have cauliflower.
Yeah.
Like,
have something else. Like, it's not, have something else. Like, you don't need to have what everyone else is having. Like, and the fact of the matter is, like, if you don't like something, you don't have to eat it. I remember doing, like, an Instagram video, like, talking about somebody who'd, again, bring myself back to this just because, like, this is where obviously we probably share the most value, like, on social media. And like somebody had asked a question, so I did a reel, and Chris actually filmed it, talking about like, if you don't like dark chocolate and you'd prefer milk chocolate, just have the milk chocolate. Like it's not going to make a difference. Like, just because it's got more health benefits, like, yeah, okay, great, that's fantastic, but you don't like it. So why are you going to try and like force feed yourself it? Like, you don't need to do that.
With it as well. Like, don't get me wrong, it has got slightly more nutritional value, but it's also got slightly more calories.
So it's okay.
And the amount that people have, it's like 2 squares of
tiny,
dark chocolate.
Yeah,
like there's no more. There's probably
there's slight nutrient density, but like in the grand scheme, if you're looking at it calorie wise,
if you're looking at 2 squares versus 2 squares of milk chocolate, what are you talking, like tiny percent.
Yeah,
nothing.
Like it's not
You're
enough.
like,
to care.
I think that's
like,
what's mad
it's
with
like
it
people
all.
go, well, I've read online that like dark is healthier. I've read online that almond milk is healthier than skimmed milk or whatever. And and I'm like, okay, do you like dark chocolate? No. do you like almond milk? Have you tried? No. Well, then what are we talking about? You don't need to do that. You don't need to have it. If you don't like it, you don't need to have it. If you like it and it's better, it fits better for your lifestyle, fits better with your diet, fits better calorie-wise, fantastic. But if you don't need to
do you know what?
that.
The people who are saying that often as well, where they're like, oh, I've read that almond milk's better than semi-skim milk. Also are drinking no water, not eating the fruit and veg. Like, it's the same when people get obsessed with supplements.
Yeah,
like,
and you're like, oh, this isn't going to fix you if you don't fix yourself.
What supplements are they going to have? Doesn't matter that much.
No.
Like we did a really good one actually, where Chloe went through like what each supplement does, and then they got to pick whether they needed to take them or not. So they listen to it and they're like, oh, I need it. Like, magnesium's great for sleep. It stops cramping. So she was like, you know, if it's your time of the month.
Potentially this is great for you, yeah.
If it's your time of the month and you suffer bad with like period cramps.
Then this is great.
Then you should take magnesium.
But if you're a male, potentially you don't need it. Like, it's just, like there's, I think.
It's that balance and people get so obsessed with like.
Because it's another quick fix mentality.
What one should they have? And it's like, well, listen to this, pick which ones, but none of them are actually going to help massively
if you don't change everything else.
Change it. Like, I take magnesium every day because I don't know what it is, but whatever muscle group I train, cramps non-stop.
Helping with the cramps.
So I take it every day, don't have any more cramps.
Yeah.
But if someone would just come up to me and said, take magnesium, just randomly, I would have took it for a week and then stopped.
Yeah.
Because
you have to see the purpose in it, don't you?
You can't see the benefit in it. But when you can know, like, oh, I take this for this and I take this for this, it'll work later on. But people get so obsessed with those micro details rather than
like, well, I've heard I should have this, or most people who are in fitness, I've read do this, or I've seen on Instagram they recommend this, they recommend a BCAA or whatever it is, and like a lot of like not all, like, because like everyone obviously takes supplements, like I take certain supplements, like it's you know it's helpful and handy, but like the first thing that you need to look at, rather than looking at like which supplement can I take, which one's going to fix me, like which one's going to help me like lose weight and do this, don't be looking at supplements for that reason. Look at your diet, your nutrition, your habits. They're the things that you need to address first, and then supplements are like a secondary thing. So once we've nailed all of those, then we can take a look at supplements and see what potentially would help you.
It's supplements, and then all the other things like we're talking about. Is this better than this? Is this better? It's all little minute, and it's like focusing on the tiny details rather than the big one. It's a lot like school in that sense. Like, so much emphasis is put on like how the format looks neat rather than whether the lesson plan is actually right.
Yeah.
Like little things like that. It's the same with dieting. It's the same with nutrition. It's the same with training. It's focusing on the bigger picture and letting the rest just figure itself out. Because there is no point in you taking, well, there's no point you take BCAAs anyway. But there's no point you taking
expensive
them. There's no point you taking that if you aren't like drinking enough water.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one. And I think we'll probably start to wrap it up on the podcast because we talk loads. But I've
actually spoken a lot.
I think it's a big one. I think the big probably message we got from it is just be consistent, enjoy it. And if you can't see yourself doing something for a year, sack it off. Sack it off. And it doesn't matter whether you've done it before. It doesn't matter all things. Like, if you aren't getting to a better place, if you can't see yourself doing it for the rest of your life and enjoying it, it's not worth doing.
No.
But no, it's been class having you on. And I guess the big one is where people can find you.
Well, you can find me at lucybrabin.coaching on Instagram. I coach ladies who want to love what they see in the mirror, so me and Martin are very similar in that sense. Not that he just coaches women, but yeah, we coach kind of similar vibe of people. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Oh, no, class. It's been great having you on.
Thank you.
Obviously, if you listen to this and you're not following me, it's at the Teachers PT. And yeah, it's been class. And with it always, like, if you enjoy it, shoot us a message on Instagram, rate us on the podcast, share it. The more the merrier. It's absolutely class that way. But we'll wrap it up there.